here. And in this slide, we can see the typical business works that we are talking about. We can see some of the nice features and the great features that we have as part of the tool. We can see how is it simple to use this type of tools that we are talking about. And if you look at it, this is what we were using for the last 20 years, as I said. And this is what we were always focusing on. The main things that TIBCO was focusing on for the last 2 decades is how they can make their offering much more simple and how they can make the time to market much more faster and quicker. So they want their customers to be able to build services and expose services and deploy new services to their infrastructure very quickly and very fast. And as you can see in the video that we see in this slide, how is it easy that we use, how is it easy to use the tool that we are building? How is it easy to support it and manage it from the support and operation perspective, and how you can do at any point of time. You can see the transactions that happened. You can see what was the input, what was the output for all the activities that you have as part of your transactions. And in this slide, we can see from a development perspective, how is it easy to debug the services that you are building. First of all the things that we do as part of our solutions, there's no need to write code. So it's zero code. It's literally zero code. We don't see customers who are writing code, even though we provide the ability for some of our customers who wants to go the code way, who wants to implement maybe some part of the solution that they are building in a code way. We allow them to use Java to build such type of solutions as part of the solution that they are building. However, in most of the scenarios that we are building, in most of our engagement with the customers that we have in this region and worldwide as well, the customers that we have, they are not using code at all, and they build all the services that they are building as part of the declarative UI, where all the work can be done by drag and drop capabilities as part of the visualization tool that we have. And the designer that we have here is an Eclipse-based designer. So most of the Java developers are familiar with such type of designer that we are talking about, or such type of IDE that we are talking about. And in this slide, as you can see, we provide a very simple way for our developers to test their services before they deploy them to the test environment or the pre-production environment or their production environment. We provide them with all the capabilities that they want to have as part of, to make sure that the services that they are building provide the expectation that we are looking after. And we allow them to maybe apply a breakpoint at any point of time and see what came into that activity, what was the output for that activity. And at any point of time, if they found out that they want to update the logic that they have here, or they want to do some changes at the email that they are sending for the customer, or they want to change the input that they are sending for specific system, whether it's an API or whether it's a REST service or whether whatever system it is, if they want to do any type of changes, we allow them to apply the changes. And as soon as they save it, the tool itself will push a new deployment for that service to the runtime environment, and will allow them to continue with the testing and the debugging that they have in place. And if you look at that, this will allow them to provide continuous development and continuous debugging, and it will make sure that they can do things much more faster. And nowadays in the market, we've seen a lot of people are asking for a REST service, and the REST service have a special, the way how we do it as part of TIBCO is something very special. So we allow you to expose your service as a REST service very quickly, literally in less than 1 minute. It's only about three wizards that you need to visit, where you specify the input and the output that you are expecting, and the service will be built for you, and you can share it with your customer. And as soon as you build your REST service, you can also see the Swagger documentation that will be auto-generated for you. So as part of the tool, we provide Swagger documentation that can be auto-generated. So as soon as you update the input or the output for the service that you are building the Swagger interface will be generated for you, and you can test your service by going to the Swagger interface URL, and you can see all the operations that you are exposing. You can see what was the input. Well, we can see you can see what is the expected input that you can push. What's the expected output? So there is no need to maybe install and download any other tool. We only want you to focus in the business logic that you are building. And this service is something very important. A lot of people are asking for REST services. We have seen a lot of shift from web services to REST services. And that's what TIBCO is focusing on. We want to make sure that we provide what the customer is asking for. And we started hearing that maybe web services will be something of the past because everyone is moving to REST services. And this is what TIBCO is doing and working on hard. And also as part of the REST services that we are building, or maybe a web services that we are building, we provide different approach, different modeling approach in order to build the services that you are building. So we provide the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. So when we talk, for example, about a web service, we allows you to start from the WSDL file itself, and what are the operations that you have. Once you have the WSDL, you can build the service that you have. Or maybe if you have the services, we allow you to expose them and build the WSDL for them. The same thing when it comes to REST APIs that we are talking about. So if you already have the services and you want to expose them, you can expose them as a REST APIs. If you have the JSON documentation for your REST APIs and you want to build the services based on that, we also support that as well. So that will make your life much more easier, and that will help you focus in the business logic that you are trying to build and implement and provide the best services that you want to provide for your customer. And also one of the nice features that we have also here, so by default, REST service, the output, the response for the REST services needs to be as maybe JSON. However, as part of our platform, we provide you with the ability to expose the REST for the response format to be as XML format or as a JSON format, or maybe you can expose both of them. And when the client wants to consume your service, he decides as part of the input what type of outputs he needs to receive. So if I call your service, I'll say, I need to get the JSON response, or I need to get the XML response. And I will take care of how I'll process the response that I'll get from your end. And all of that will be done in the back end. So as a service provider, you don't need to worry about it. You only need to check this checkbox that we have here, and the tool itself will do the right rendering and will provide the right response for your service that you are looking after. And also some of the great feature that we have as part of the tool also is a unit testing capability. So we provide a rich set of capabilities in order to help you do some sort of unit testing for the services that you are building. So you can specify you can specify a mock-up input for the services that you are building, and you can apply some sort of assertions on the output of each activity that you are building in the solution that you have. We help you also as part of the tool. We help you to run all those test cases that we have as part of a visual debugging perspective. So you can see exactly what's going on. If there's an error, you can stop in that error and see why it happened. So that will help you fix the issue that you have very quickly. And also one of the nice features that we have as part of the product, we have built a specific Maven plugin that can only integrate with the business work application that we are building. So you can call this Maven plugin from outside the application. So that will help you when you are building the CI/CD pipeline that we should build as part of our solution. So you can easily your unit testing, you can easily do apply your performance testing, your stress testing. You can make sure that your services are really working before you push your services to your production environment. And part of the Maven plugin that we are building, we allow you to deploy your services as a developer from this IDE to container platform. So there's no need for you at this point of time to maybe use another tool, use Jenkins or use Docker commands in order to deploy your services to Docker. You can also deploy it to Kubernetes-based application, whether we are talking about Kubernetes itself or whether we are talking about Kubernetes-based application like maybe OpenShift, for example. With the tool itself here, we will be able to create a Docker using this Maven plugin, build a Docker image and deploy it straightforward on those platforms and those container orchestration platforms, and test that the services that we are building from over there and making sure that the services are really working as we are expecting. The tool also allows us to generate HTML reports. So as part of our testing, we might do multiple testing. We might do multiple version of testing. So at any point of time, we will be able to generate HTML reports. We can refer back to those HTML reports and see exactly what passed, what didn't pass. And as soon as we feel comfortable about the solution that we are building, we can push it to the next environment where we want to push our solution. And another great feature that we also support as part of our platform, the way how we will help you build CI/CD pipeline. And CI/CD pipeline is one of the trends that we started seeing in the market. Everyone is talking about CI/CD pipeline. Everyone wants to build his own CI/CD pipeline. And when you ask them, why do you want to have CI/CD pipeline? I got a nice answer from one of the customers that we have in this region. They were saying that they want to build their CI/CD pipeline because they want to be able to find a bug in the morning and have a fix for it in the afternoon in their production environment. And that's really great vision that they have, because if they really have the right CI/CD tools, if they really have the right integration platform that they are working on, definitely they will be able to reach that steps. And that's what TIBCO has in mind. They want all the customers that they are working with them to be able to find a bug in their production environment and apply a fix for it and test it, deploy it to the different environments that they have, and ultimately deploy it to their production as soon as possible. So what we are talking about here, we provide as an integration platform provider, we provide all the capabilities that you might need in order to build your custom CI/CD pipeline. So you can do all the testing that you want to do as part of the CI/CD pipeline. You can automate the generation of the way how you build the service that you want to deploy and push to as part of the CI/CD pipeline. We allows you to test the quality of the services that you are building. So we allow you to test the quality of the code. And we support multiple DevOps teams available in the market as part of that. So you will not have issues if you decide to work with a specific DevOps tool available in the market, because we have a very rich set of DevOps tools that we are supporting. And if you go to the URL where we have github.com under TIBCO software, you will find a very rich set of DevOps tools that we are providing for all our customers. We provide some templates, we provide some examples on how you use those type of DevOps tools as part of your solution that you are building on. So that will make sure that you have the best that will help you make sure that you always have the best CI/CD pipeline, and will help you always customize your CI/CD pipeline in order to provide the best capability that you are looking after. Another great feature that we also have as part of our integration platform, which is business work. That's the core business. That's the core integration platform. We also have something. We have a new flavor of it, where we have container edition version, and the container edition version will allows you to build cloud native applications. So the solution that you are building will be cloud native application. You will be able to deploy such type of solution wherever you want, whether you want to deploy them in a container orchestration platforms, whether you want to deploy them in an operating system as part of virtual machine or a physical machine, or you can even go to TIBCO public cloud, where you can visit it by going to cloud.tibco.com and deploy the services that you are looking after. And the vision that TIBCO has in mind, they want their customers to use their Eclipse version, the designer version that they have, to build all the integration scenarios that they have. And as soon as they build their integration scenarios and their integration services, they can deploy those services wherever they want. So they can deploy them on a premise, they can deploy them in a container orchestration platforms, or they can deploy them to the public cloud that we have as part of TIBCO. As I said, they can visit it by going to cloud.tibco.com. And this is really great feature that we allows our customer to build their integration scenarios one time and being able to deploy them anywhere based on their cloud journey. So as I said, maybe at the beginning of my presentation, we have this container orchestration platform conversation with all the customers that we have. However, we see a lot of hesitation when it comes to deployment from the customers that we have. So most of the customers that we have, they talk to us about container orchestration platform, and they talk to us that they want to deploy their solution in a container orchestration platforms. However, they feel a little bit that they want maybe to delay such type of steps maybe for a year or two till they have the right setup until they decide with which container orchestration platform they want to go. However, they start working with us and they started building their integration services, and they started deploying those type of services on their virtual machines or on their physical machine directly. And the nice thing for our capabilities that as part of the solution that you are building, at any point of time, if you want to move the services that you have built, you want to move them to container orchestration platform, all what you have to do is open the application and make it and change the deployment endpoint and make it more compatible with the cloud native application. So we will provide you in that way with a cloud native application that you can build and deploy in a container orchestration platform. Also with the same tool that maybe as a customer, you don't have you don't want to go to the cloud, you don't want to go to the public cloud. However, you don't know what might happen after 5 years. Maybe you will find it's much more cost effective if you shut down your physical machine, so you don't acquire a new hardware, you don't upgrade your operating system, you don't have those people who are supporting your environment. You can do all of that by maybe pushing the services that you are building and push them to the public cloud that we have as part of TIBCO. And you can move the whole investment that you have already implemented and push it to the public cloud that we have. And this is, I believe, one of the great features that we have, because we know the customer pain. We know from where the customer is coming. We know where the customer is trying to go. We are talking about an integration platform that will live for at least for a decade or maybe more. So the integration platform that we are working on will really help you to serve all those use cases that you have in mind. So, and we have seen some of the customers that we are working with in this region, they are deploying the services that they are building as part of our integration platform. They are deploying some of those services on a premise, some of those services in OpenShift, some of those services they are using maybe Kubernetes as a service from AWS or from Azure or maybe from Google Cloud. So you will never be locked. That's the nice thing. This is the word that maybe a lot of customers that they were looking after. They don't want to have some sort of limitations that the integration platform that they are using can only work on Azure Kubernetes, or it can only work in Kubernetes as a service from AWS, or it can only work in OpenShift. The customers, they want to have the flexibility. They would like to have a choice of where they want to go. They don't want to be limited. They don't want the vendor to give them a hard time. So, and this is what exactly TIBCO has in mind. TIBCO has been always neutral since the beginning. So we were always supporting different operating systems. So you can install our tool wherever you want. So we almost support all the commercial operating systems available in the market. We almost support all the container orchestrations platforms available in the market. So that will give you a lot of assurance that you are partnering with the right vendor. You will never have a hard time going forward. So you can easily switch from this vendor to the other vendor. If, for example, we are using Kubernetes as a service from Azure, and those people, they've decided to do some changes in the tool, some quick changes where they've asked their people to quickly upgrade to the next version, maybe as a customer, maybe as a service provider, maybe as a people who are utilizing and using that endpoint and that infrastructure. You are not ready. You need maybe additional time for that. So you can easily switch from this vendor to the other vendor, because we all know that all those vendors are new, and we don't know with which vendor we will feel comfortable. So that's why we are giving our customers a lot of options so they can select one of them. And I was talking to the product manager, and I was asking him about the number of versions that we are supporting. He told me that they are supporting more than 50 different versions when it comes to container orchestration platform. So that will give you a huge assurance that you will have enough time to go to the next version once you are using our technology. And when we talk about a cloud native application, we are talking about a lot of features that needs to be available as part of the tool. So we have seen a lot of maybe vendors, they are claiming that their tool can be deployed in a container orchestration platform. But when you ask them about what they are doing with the configuration management, which tool they are supporting, what they are doing with the service discovery and service registration, what they are doing with circuit breakers patterns, what they are doing with open tracing, which is those new projects that we started seeing coming out from Kubernetes. So they don't have an answer because they are new to that field. They were unable to add additional capabilities for their infrastructure. And because TIBCO started this journey a little earlier, so we started before anyone else in the market. So we started working this in 2015. And prior to that, also, I was saying that people, they were talking about microservices in early 2012, 2011. That's why when TIBCO, they started changing the whole architecture for their business work application in order to be aligned with the microservices and being able to run in any devices, in any machine. And their main focus was how they can make their services and their runtime environment smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's what they are doing nowadays. And as out of the box, they support all those cloud native capabilities that we see in this screen. So when it comes to configuration management, when you deploy your application to a container orchestration platform, you need a place where you want to save your configuration. So what database you are connecting to, what ERP system that you are connecting to as part of the services that you are building. So you need to save those configurations somewhere. And we provide you with the different options. So you can always, you will not be limited from TIBCO perspective. Maybe you will have some sort of limitation from other applications that you have where you want to deploy them in those type of infrastructure. But from TIBCO perspective, you will be in safe hand, and you will have multiple options. And as a technology provider, as soon as TIBCO find a new configuration management tool available in the market, and they have seen that some customers, they started asking for it, they will go and they will start supporting those type of configuration management. The same thing also when it comes for service discovery and service registration. So we provide our customers with a lot of options. So here are some of the tools that we are supporting when it comes to service discovery and service registration. So we support Curica, we support Console, we support Kubernetes DNS, and we have so many options that we provide for our customer. The same thing also applicable when it comes to circuit breaker patterns. So you don't, nowadays, when we talk about microservices and when we talk about the services that we are deploying in a container orchestration platform, we need to have such type of circuit breaker patterns as part of our solutions. And maybe Netflix is one of those people who have a huge implementation for circuit breakers. And the nice thing about our offering, we don't want you to worry about installing about maybe circuit breakers library as part of your integration processes. The libraries, all the libraries that we are talking about here, they come embedded. So there is no need for you to go and find out which jar file I need to install, which jar file I need to embed as part of the solution, as part of the applications that I'm pushing to my production environment. All those type of libraries will be available as part of the same tool that we are talking about. And also, once you deploy your services to production environment, whether you want to deploy them in an operating system directly, or whether you want to deploy them on container orchestration platform, you need to find out what's going on in your services. So you need to find out maybe what services has worked, what services experiencing some delays, what services maybe throw some sort of exceptions and error. So as part of our framework, we have something called business work monitoring, where you can access it by going to a URL, whether by accessing specific URL. And once you go to that URL, you can minimize the window, the time window that we are talking about. Maybe you need to see the transaction that came from maybe 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock. So you will have specific results that will come out. Maybe you are only looking for the transaction that they have failed. So you can click on those transactions, and in the right side menu, you can see more details about those transactions. And if you have sub-processes as part of your solution, you can click on those sub-processes and you can drill down on those sub-processes and see exactly what happened in those sub-processes. And also you can click on any activity that you might have as part of your work, of your flow, and you can see what was the input, what was the output that you have received as part of this activity. You can even also see what's the configuration that you have applied as part of this activity. And for the people who are working in support and operation, this is extremely helpful for them. They will get a huge value when they have access to such features and such capabilities, because that will let them do most of the work without they wait for their developers, without they work for the people who build the service to come up with an answer about what they have done with that specific service or with that specific process that they are building. So this is one of the nice thing. This is one of the nice offering that comes out of the box with the tool itself. So we have business work monitoring. However, we are talking to our customers, and some of our customers that we have, they have their own monitoring application that they are using across all their infrastructure. So they deploy their Java application, all the logging for their Java application, all the logging for their integration applications, all the logging for their portal application comes to a centralized logging application, whether we are talking about open tracing, whether we are talking about maybe Splunk or Elasticsearch. So if you decide to go that way, we also support all those monitoring solutions that we have in place. And here we can see some of those external, some of the options that we have when it comes to monitoring. So we have business work monitoring or PwC monitoring. And this is, as I said, this is available whether you want to deploy your services on-premise or virtual machine directly in the operating system, or if you want to deploy it in a container orchestration platform. This will be only limited. So you can only see what happened exactly in TIBCO perspective. However, if you are using other tool like maybe Elasticsearch or Jaeger or maybe Grafana, so we also can push all the logging information and push them to that type of infrastructure of that maybe some of the customers would like to go that way. The other great feature that we also have as part of our offering, we have something called Hawk. And Hawk basically will allow you to monitor your services that you deploy in your production environment. So we understand that as a customer, you don't want someone to sit in front of the computer 24/7 and find out which worked, which didn't work, which service throw an error, which service has some delay, which service has some issues. So as part of the hook that we have, we allow you to apply your monitoring applications. So you can apply your monitoring rules. So you can build your monitoring rules that you want to monitor. Maybe if you want to monitor if the service is up and running, maybe you want to monitor if one of the services have some delay, so people, they wait maybe a minute or two or maybe more before they get their response back. Or maybe you want to monitor if external application like a web service or maybe a database is working or not working. So TIBCO Hook will provide you with all those capabilities that we are talking about. And once we find an issue, we allow you to apply an action on that issue. So maybe, sorry, this slide is about the scheduler, how we can link the monitoring rule that we are building to a scheduler. So maybe we have a scheduler that runs from a specific time to other specific time, or maybe we want to schedule the monitoring rule only to work in the weekend, or maybe from 8 o'clock in the morning till maybe 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. We apply such type of rules, maybe that runs every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes. So this is what we have as part of the scheduler. And as soon as we find an issue, we can decide on the action. So the tool itself will help you maybe restart the service that has some issues, or maybe the tool itself will help you push an action, push a notification by email, or maybe you can push it to the dashboard that we have as part of the tool, or maybe you can push it to SMS as SMS messages that will reach the administrator, so the administrator can take an action. So this is one of the great features that we have. Also, as part of our hybrid integration platform offering, we have something called Flogo. And Flogo is another great innovation that TIBCO was working on for the last couple of years. So basically, it provides a lightweight integration engine or platform that provides the ability to build application integration and event-driven microservices as part of the browser without the need to leave the browser itself. It comes with different features and capabilities. Some of the features that we always like to highlight when we talk about Flogo is that Flogo is a very lightweight. which can make it very possible to deploy it anywhere, whether we want to deploy it on edge devices, IoT devices, container orchestration platform, or anywhere. It also provides the ability to build event-driven architecture patterns using a modern technology stack and expose services in different modern protocols, such as GraphQL and REST and gRPC and other protocols that we started seeing some demands for such protocols in this market that we are living in. Also, another great feature that we have as part of Flogo is as part of Flogo comes embedded with the machine learning capabilities where you can embed machine learning model as part of the integration scenario that you have, and you can deploy it on the edge devices, the IoT devices. So all the aggregation can happen on the device itself without the need to push the data back to the server or maybe to your data center and maybe take the right action at that point of time. And in this slide, we can see a screenshot of how Flogo UI looks like. It's available as part of the web browser itself with all the capabilities that you may need to use, including development, applying transformation logic in order to do the integration scenario that you want to build. It helps you also deploy your services from the screen itself. And as I said, we're using Flogo, you can deploy your services anywhere. So you can deploy it on a premise and directly into operating system that you may have. You can push it to a container orchestration platform. You can push it to serverless functions available from different public cloud provider. You can push it to IoT devices as well. And when we talk about use cases, we have really a huge number of use cases where TIBCO hybrid integration platform was successfully implemented. And I was confused which use case maybe I can present to you guys. And I just thought maybe with the T-Mobile use case where we have used TIBCO integration platform, TIBCO hybrid integration platform to facilitate all the integration that they are looking after and build all the integration that they wanted to build. And T-Mobile is one of the old typical customers that we have, and they keep evolving with us with all the new innovation that we are using. And I remember that before 2 years when they launched the iPhone 8, the CTO wasn't available on site. He usually used to be available inside with any event that T-Mobile was planning to do. But when they started using TIBCO hybrid integration platform, he was in a different conference, attending a different conference, and he was talking about something else. And he was feeling very comfortable that the launch of iPhone will happen successfully without he needs to worry about the technical details that the technical people they might have.